You gotta give me one thing. I'm a scary judge of talent.
Adolphus Washington back-to-back plays.
The Detroit Pistons select Luke Kennard from Duke University.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back into the Triple Double Podcast. My name's Corey Albertson at Triple Double Prospects. We got Jason Moore of 270 Hoops with us as our producer, and today's guest is my good friend Arkell Bruce. Coach Bruce, what's going on?
Not much. It's family time, winding down the day and hanging out with the kiddos.
You got to get that time in now, man, because you got about a little over a month, right? About a month and a half, and it's time to start playing some real basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, time flew by.
Good deal. Well, for those who don't know, Arkell Bruce, head coach at prep school powerhouse Huntington Prep over in West Virginia. Coach Bruce has been the head coach at Huntington Prep since 2014-2015 season, has been there in years prior to that. Huntington Prep dates back to 2009, and they've developed a program that's one of the most recognizable powers in high school basketball on the prep circuit scene. NBA alums such as Andrew Wiggins, Miles Bridges, Gorgie Deng, Thomas Bryant, and some others. So, Coach, why don't you just tell everybody, and most people listening are going to be familiar, but, what is Huntington Prep? What's the service that you offer to the kids who are part of your guys' program?
Well, first and foremost, we offer a high-level private school education. It's a great situation. Everything here is in preparation for you to go to college, not just athletically, but also academically. And we're one of the, prep schools that take the time to really develop guys. I'll bring in young guys, and I like to try to develop them and help them grow as players. So, but we also take some older dudes that can hoop too. So best of both worlds, I guess.
Right. Taking guys, from all over the country. I want to talk to you in a little bit down the road in this conversation about Canada and some other countries. But, you've got guys who are coming in who are younger that are, probably known regionally or known by a few national scouts, but not super well known in the recruiting circuit. And then you've got some other guys who come to you and are already 4 or 5-star guys, but there's reasons they come to you, and we'll talk about those. But, just talk a little bit about when people hear prep school, I think people tend to gravitate towards the idea of Oak Hill Academy, Hargrave Military Academy, where not all, but a majority of the kids are doing, not Oak Hill, but Hargrave and some of the military schools, the NEPSAC schools, where they're 5th-year kids finished high school, now they're doing a 5th year, maybe to improve their academics or improve their exposure before going to college. You guys take traditional high school kids and, you compete against Findlay Prep, you compete against Montverde, a lot of other schools. How has Huntington Prep kind of become one of those top schools?
Well, we work. We're out there. We're looking at kids. Explaining to them what we provide and what's great about Huntington, West Virginia. We invite any and all people to come see what we have going on. We have a $30 million facility that we train in. We have our own strength coaches. It's a great situation, and we hang our hats on just trying to outwork everyone. And, we don't expect nothing to be given to us, but, we're trying to take everything. So, it's a competitive market. All the other prep schools are doing a great job of getting high-level talent. And, we enjoy the competition. And that's one of the main reasons guys come here. We don't shy away from playing anyone. We play a top 3, top 5 schedule in the country every year.
One thing I think of when I think of Huntington Prep, having seen you guys since probably 2011, 2012, some really good teams, is I think of 2 things. Number one, if you go down there, Huntington, West Virginia is a small place. There aren't a whole lot of things going on and there's less distraction. So if you're a kid who comes from a big city or if you're somebody who comes from a small place, another country, you're going to be in a very close environment. Everyone knows each other well, a lot of opportunities to improve and without distractions. And then number two, probably even more importantly, is that the community really embraces you guys. I mean, I know that Huntington Prep basketball is something that people in Huntington, West Virginia, or surrounding parts of West Virginia are very proud of.
Yeah, I'm a West Virginia native. I'm from Huntington, and when Rob first started this, we wanted to piggyback off the success that Patrick Patterson and OJ Mayo had playing back home their senior years. And like you said, we have great community support. With me being from here, I have eyes everywhere, I guess you could say. And it's just a blessing to be able to do something like this, where you were born and raised.
Right. And it's an interesting situation. 'Cause I think if, knowing Ohio so well, I think if there was a school in Ohio that tried to do what you guys did, or I think Michigan, Indiana, Illinois be the same thing, there would be a lot of angst in the community about not being in the athletic federation and not necessarily playing the top local teams and wanting to play outside. And, there might be some kind of hate in the community. Whereas in West Virginia, you guys don't play in a conference with other West Virginia high school teams. You guys play a national schedule and it still is, embraced by the community and everything. And, there's not a jealousy among other guys. And, West Virginia high school basketball, while even kids who don't play for you, don't necessarily get that same exposure, they do indirectly benefit just from having somebody in the state of West Virginia who's bringing light the fact that there is some talent in the state.
Right. And I mean, and it's a untapped state when it comes to recruiting. I embrace all the guys in the state of West Virginia when it comes to basketball. I'm friends with a lot of the coaches that coach high school basketball in West Virginia. And I take my guys throughout the state. And I'm big in community service and I'm just big in helping people. And like I said, with me being from Huntington, it's just a lot of love here. And I played in West Virginia. I've established relationships just with a lot of people throughout the state. And they know that we do things the right way. And they're proud to be associated with us, and hopefully we can continue our success.
Right. And I mean, you guys are still evolving. You guys are still growing. I mean, it seems like you've been on the circuit for a number of years, but in the grand scheme of basketball, you haven't. And the prep scene's really evolving. People know Huntington Prep, people know Finley, people know Montverde, some other ones, but there's new ones popping up every year, whether that be for a fifth year or whether that be for something that is, traditional high school. You've got some really nice private schools with a lot of resources now deciding that they're going to kind of field a prep basketball team with bringing kids in from other communities. So how has the prep scene changed in your mind nationally or regionally in the last few years? And how have you guys tried to stay on top of it all?
Well, I mean, of course, just more of them. And like you said, there's people providing more resources for kids to excel. And I believe that's one of the main reasons kids and parents look into prep schools, to stay ahead of the curve, I guess you could say. I know that when kids, decide to leave home and come here, that one of their main focuses is to get bigger, stronger, faster. And prep schools around the country are providing that same service. So, I mean, why not? Kids, like I said, are getting ahead of the curve. And, I mean, I just hope it doesn't get watered down and people not do it the right way. Because, of course, we have that happening as well. This is not easy. It's not for everybody. You got to have a lot of resources, a lot of backing, and a lot of, I guess, community involvement. Unless you got deep pockets yourself, I mean, it's something that It's not for everybody. I know that with me, I'm from Huntington. I'm not going anywhere. I have a dream job. I'm my own boss. It's stress-free. I know a lot of guys use the prep school route as a stepping stone into college. So, any of you young guys out there and want some longevity, somebody that's got skin in the game, holler at your boy.
Right, right. I mean, the prep school thing, it's great what you guys are doing. There's a million good ones, but you also hear horror stories. You hear about people paying, exuberant amounts of money, and then their kids living in what's beyond poverty. Sharing one bedroom with 10 players, not having enough food. You hear about a lot of that stuff. And, prep school, like you said, you got to be careful and make sure it's the right situation. And I think there's two schools of kids going to prep school. There's the kids who need the year to develop, need the year academically, or need the more exposure, and they come and get that. And it's a great thing. But there's also some prep schools who are trying to recruit kids who are academically not going to be ready for college and need to go to junior college, or who are just honestly not good enough to be college basketball players at a high level. And those things are popping up and they become money grabs. And it always reminds me here in Cincinnati, specifically where I live, when I first started doing this, coaching AAU, class of 2011, we had two really good players in Cincinnati, Aaron Thomas and Samaje Christian. They both go on to do a fifth year to do a little bit more academic work at Brewster, and they play on a team that has like 6 guys that go on to the NBA. Aaron goes over to Florida State. Samaje goes to Xavier. Things work out great. And as great of a thing as that was in Cincinnati for guys to find success, it's a little bit of a detriment. And here's why. Because now every kid in Cincinnati with so-so grades, it's borderline to qualify, is sitting around just telling everybody, well, I don't have to do my homework because I'm just going to go do what Aaron and Samaje did. So, as a family, you need to understand that the prep school can offer some things, and this isn't really your neighborhood since you guys primarily do, traditional high school 4-year guys. But in terms of prep scenarios, it is something just like making a decision for which 4-year college you're going to go to. Choosing a prep school is a very important and detail-oriented decision.
Yeah. I mean, that's what parents got to do their research and they got to do their homework. The NCAA, they allow you to, make up one class unless you have an IEP, then it's 3. But the way the rules are designed now, the parents have to be on the school to make sure that those teachers know that administration is doing their job. It's your kid. You should be knocking on doors, trying to, use as many resources that public or private school have to offer.
And if you're going to be paying that type of money, in most almost all prep schools, require a large sum of money from the parents. You want to go to a school where the school has a reputation and a proven track record of sending kids on to college, where you're investing your money in a future scholarship opportunity. So if you go to Huntington Prep, you go to Montverde, you go to Sunrise Christian, you're saying, well, these schools have sent 6-7 kids a year to NCAA Division I basketball. So I know that it's not a scam, but at the same time, there's a lot of people popping up saying they've done this and that, and they haven't.
Right. And it's very important that you go visit these prep schools. Don't just look online or trust the paperwork that they may send you. Because one thing, I would never take a kid who has academic issues. The first thing I look at is character, then I look at academics. And if either one of those don't check out, there's nothing for you here at Huntington. Like I said, our school is a private Catholic school, about 150 students, so it's very conducive to learning. Our school understands the importance of athletics and academics, so they do work with us. Nothing is given. So it's a great situation for any high school student looking to excel both academically and athletically. And I stress, I stress for parents to really take the bull by the horns and do their jobs. You know what I mean? Like, check in, go to your kid's school, no matter what school they go to. Especially, even if they don't have potential as Division I player, all kinds of colleges giving out scholarships for your kids. But the most important thing is you got to have your academics in order.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, talk about then what, shifting over to really not the prep world, but you guys specifically Huntington Prep. I mean, what is day-to-day life like for your kids outside of basketball? I mean, you say your school, but you guys Huntington Prep operate as a basketball, and your kids go to St. Joe's High School, I believe. And then are you guys still do you guys do host families, or do you guys do dorms? What are you guys doing nowadays?
We do both. We have host families for kids and parents who are wanting to go that route, so they provide probably a little bit more structure than our dorm. Our dorm houses about 13 guys. 2 of my coaches stay there as well. They have unlimited food, computer, whatever they need, we provide for them. With the day in the life, there'll be days where they wake up 5:30 in the morning. We'll work out before school. Then they go to school from 8 to 3. 3 o'clock is either study hall, or 3:30 it's either study hall or weights, depending on the day. Then after that, we're on the court every day, again, at least 6 days a week. Sometimes twice in the day. Then at night, around 6:37, they go to therapy. We have a state-of-the-art therapeutic center. After therapy, they go home, homework, dinner. After that, some guys like to go over to the school across the street from the dorm and get on the shooting machines or get some individuals in.
So you guys have pretty much unlimited time budget in terms of however much skill work you want to get, you can take advantage of at Huntington Prep, because you guys have the staff and then the program accessibility to be able to get that work in.
Yep, I have about 10 coaches at my disposal, or they have about 10 coaches at their disposal to work with them any given day. And I stress to them, just communicate. Can't read your mind. You're doing extra work, just let us know, and we'll provide it. We have 24/7 gym access, so guys can get in the lab whenever they need to.
Gotcha. And then, one thing when you look at you guys compared to other, high schools, being a prep program, it operates like a college in terms of, you have to keep your status on the prep circuit. You've got to continue to recruit good players. So, you've got guys moving on to Division I schools every year. A lot of times like you said, you have guys that don't come as freshmen, they come as juniors or even seniors. So, first off, in the recruiting process, I want to talk to you about, it's different than college in that you can really recruit everybody and you can kind of have your pick within some extent. How do you decide, which kids you want to target to go to Huntington Prep?
First of all, I get on the circuit. I get a staff pretty much every kid that we want to go look at, just to get an idea. I use the resources that a lot of scouting services provide, like triple-double prospects. So, I'll look at that.
Yes, sir.
Look at who's recruiting them. I'm big on the eye test. I'm going to go see you. I'm going to need video. I'm not just based on your ranking. Perfect example is Andre Gordon. He can hold his own against any guard in the country. Way below the radar. Came in pretty much as an unknown. Still somewhat unknown, but picked up about 8 high major offers since he's been here. So we take kids, that can shoot the ball first and foremost, and kids that want to compete and play hard. So that's what we look at. I can care less about how high you're ranked or that type of thing. So, because all that stuff takes itself.
One of the kind of interesting recruiting factors that I look at with a prep school is this: you're asking, families are coming to you to send their kid away to go to school early, earlier than the traditional kid who's going to play 4 years of high school and then go on to where they're going to go on. So when you guys are recruiting kids, is it more often than not guys are saying we're interested in prep, and when you find out they're interested in prep, then you go see them? Or are you going to see kids and then saying, I'm really interested in this kid, so maybe we can have a conversation with their family about the advantages of leaving home early to go to prep school?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Some moms aren't ready to let their baby leave. You know what I mean?
That's what I was getting at. I already know it's tough.
Sometimes it's tight-knit families, and I'm all about family and the family environment. But I mean, I'm very friendly and outgoing, so I talk to any and everybody. And if you can hoop and I like you, I'm probably going to reach out to your parents, unless I'm told otherwise. So, we're in the time of the analysts and mentors and everything else, but I'm big on communicating with parents. So,
when you come to these families then, and whether they're interested in prep or whether they're not interested in prep at the point that you guys begin to have conversations, what is the main recruiting pitch in, forget about Huntington Prep specifically. I mean, you guys obviously have the alums and the resources and the coaching, but when you talk to a family about the positives that go with choosing to play at an elite prep school and the exposure that goes with it, what is kind of the general recruiting pitch to these families?
With me, it's just the preparation aspect of it. Let me prepare your son academically as well as athletically. There's a reason there's planes, trains, and automobiles. They can get back home to see you. You know what I mean? So the main thing with me is just preparation, learning how to play with other high-level players and learning to play hard all the time. Because regular high school ball compared to prep school ball is a different level. But prep school ball compared to Division I or just college in general, it's a different level. So you have to have a kill or be killed mindset and understand and work and understand how hard you have to work.
To me, there's a couple ways to look at it. Number one, we talked about earlier, if you come from a place or if you're a kid who's prone to having a lot of distractions in your life, you can eliminate a lot of that. But then looking at it from a basketball standpoint, I think there's, two types of kids who come to Huntington Prep. There's kids, Andre Gordon's a great example where, he's kind of from the Dayton, Ohio area, but he's kind of also from the country. He's a little further out. And being his school kind of being a little more rural, you don't get the opportunity day in and day out to play against other top players. There's some games where it's just going to be easy for him. And, high school open gym, it's probably just really, really easy for Dre. So for him to go to Huntington Prep, he's getting, top level bump every single day against guys who are just, maybe not as athletic as him, but are on the same plane athletically. And that's great for some of those kids. And then you got your other kids, who are going because they're maybe not getting their name out there, and Huntington Prep allows them that opportunity based on the schedule you play, the quality of competition, the amount of scouts and college coaches at that games. Is they're going to get a lot more exposure than they would get, Dre being another example where there's not a whole lot of college coaches coming to Sydney because of location, because of schedule, and that's not anything against Sydney. It's just naturally you guys are going to have more resources in that department.
Right. It's like a one-stop shop here. You can come in and you might come in and see one kid and leave someone else. It happens all the time. Like you said, and Andre is just a perfect example of that. He dominated the area he was in. Come here. Now people get to see what he really can do at a high level, and they're just falling in love with him. And he has a competitive nature that's second to none. And he makes people around him better. And he raises the level of competition when he walks in the gym.
Then you've got a job then looking, when we talk about coaching basketball, you've got a job that's just like, any college coach, just like any NBA coach, but, high school coaches aren't really used to it. And that any guy that you get at Huntington Prep is used to dominating locally, is used to being the best player on their team. So now, you've got probably the first time where they face a little adversity of, I can't get some of the stuff off, and practice that I'm used to being able to get off locally, or maybe I'm sitting on the bench for the first time in my career. That can lead to probably a different coaching philosophy than most of your high school counterparts.
Yep. And I'm upfront and honest. I'm not going to bully. I'm not going to bring in a senior and sit him on the bench. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to do that. And a lot of times when kids do come to the prep school route, they think it's all, I guess, paved with golden roads. And but sometimes, these like coaches, you got to compete. And if you're not willing to compete at a high level, this just ain't for you. If you think that there's some magic wand or something in the water at prep schools that's going to just make you all of a sudden Division I or high major or get you ranked, that's just not the case. I'm a big believer in what Jay-Z always said. I heard people saying they made hole. Okay, so make another hole. If that was the case, and then I'll be pumping them out, bringing them in, pumping them out like that all the time. But it takes a rare kid to come in and want to sit, learn, and grow as a player, and not expect something just to be given to them. We're in an instant society where everybody just wants this, or wants that, or want a quick, fast, and in a hurry. Sometimes, it's you gotta not. I guess you don't have to love the process, but you got to be a part of the process and understand that it's a marathon and not a sprint sometimes.
And you also, being able to quote Jay-Z like that's got to add to your recruiting pitch with these kids. For you to be able to communicate on that level, I'm impressed, Coach.
Yeah, trust me. Don't none of these kids listen to Jay-Z.
No, I hear you on that. You got that right.
A lot of that crap they listen to.
This podcast is brought to you by PlayEasy.com. For players, coaches, or casual athletes looking to book a sports facility, as well as owners and managers of sports facilities, PlayEasy.com is the new one-stop site for streamlined services. If you're looking for a place to practice, play, host your tournament, camp, or other, simply go to PlayEasy.com and create a booking request for your area. Your request will go out to surrounding facilities who will respond with their best offer. Once you receive the offer that best fits your needs, book the facility and you're ready to play. For facility owners and managers, PlayEasy puts the power in your hands to maximize the usage and visibility of your facility. Register your facility for free today at PlayEasy.com. PlayEasy.com is the booking site built by athletes, coaches, and facility managers, and is proud to help bring you the Triple Double podcast. This podcast is also brought to you by Anago Cleaning Systems. Are you tired of struggling in a dead-end job? If so, Anago Cleaning Systems has what you're looking for, an opportunity to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. With franchising opportunities available for as little as a $2,500 down payment, purchasing an Anago franchise has never been easier. Once you own your Anago franchise, you're licensed to clean commercial facilities all around the greater Cincinnati, Dayton, or Columbus areas with the support of Anago's sales, quality control, operational, and accounting staff. Call 513-332-0033 today for your opportunity to be your own boss and grow your own commercial cleaning company under the guidance of Anago's proven and successful system. Again, call 513-332-0033 to learn more. With Anago, your future starts today. I got you. Well, you know what? I want to talk about a couple more things real quick here. Number one, what is the general consensus, when you talk to college coaches and you guys have so many schools come to your games, and then also, right now in the fall, it's a great time to stop by Huntington Prep and see workouts and get to see, 10, 12 guys, if not more, from your other teams who have Division I potential. What do college coaches say that they get out of going to visit Huntington Prep that they don't get out of visiting other places?
That they're ready. More ready than they would be if they went other places. Because I coach him tough, I coach him hard.
So a kid is, you're saying a kid is more ready to contribute early in his career?
And they're ready to contribute soon because they understand how to work. And they understand, these 6 a.m.s and time management, responsibility, that type of thing.
And you've battled for a spot. I've seen Huntington Prep for years, with the possible exception of Andrew Wiggins. I mean, I think every time everybody you guys have had has had to battle for a spot. There was no shoe in. This guy's by far and away the best player, and nobody else is ever going to play over him. Guys have to battle to be able to get on the court.
That's it. Again, if you're not willing to compete, this ain't for you. So, and like you said, with the exception of Andrew Wiggins or Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges probably too, yeah.
Yeah, those rare.
But Miles Bridges, I mean, not that Andrew Wiggins wasn't a competitor, but Miles Bridges was an elite competitor. So, I mean,
right.
that's part of the culture you guys have.
He didn't play his sophomore year. I mean, he didn't play at all really his sophomore year. He didn't play till a junior year. So,
and Miles Bridges is a great example because I remember his 15U AAU season, his freshman year, seeing him play back when he played Adidas, play for Michigan Mustangs. And I was at a game and TJ Kelly pulled me over and said, you need to watch this kid. He's going to be, the guy. And no one knew about him outside of, TJ. John Stovall, I'm sure, knew him, but not a whole lot of people knew him. And then, I remember a couple months later, TJ telling me, well, that kid's going to Huntington Prep next year. And I went to your guys' maybe opening game or second game. It was at a small school in Frankfort, Kentucky. You guys played some team, and Michigan State was in the gym. Oregon was in the gym. West Virginia was in the gym. And, 2-3 games in, Miles Bridges has 20 high major offers. So, I mean, that's, some of the things you guys can offer that, him coming from Michigan, he's going to get exposure. It's a great basketball state, but you guys can speed up the process while also helping him develop and helping him get more competition day in and day out. And, talking about distractions, a lot of, Michigan has a lot of distractions. So him being able to get out of there and really be focused in on basketball. I mean, he's kind of the poster boy for all the things that it can offer.
Right. And that's it. You eliminate distractions. Now, are you going to eliminate them? All no, but you can minimize them and focus on what you need to focus on when you're in an environment like ours. Because I'm not going to only hold you accountable. My top level guys, like your Jamin Brakefields, he's going to hold you accountable, like a Miles Bridges held people accountable, like a Xavier Ratton-Mays and Gorgie Jane held people accountable. So when you come to a place like this, if you're not ready to accept criticism from your peers as well as your coaches, then this ain't for you. Because I can guarantee you, when you go to college, you mess with somebody's livelihood, that head coach, and you're also on the court with 22, 23, 24-year-old men who will hit your ass in the mouth if you're not going to respond the right way.
Absolutely. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is this. You brought up a couple guys, and Xavier Ratton-Mays, Gorgie Jang, one of my favorite Huntington Prep guys of all time, Moses Kingsley. I was telling our producer Jason here, I was just watching some of your guys, saw some of them on NBA Summer League a couple months ago, but Andrew Wiggins being the primary one. You guys have had a lot of Canadians and a lot of other international kids. How did that really get popular at Huntington Prep? And, you guys have kind of become the stepping stone for kids who want to come from Canada and kind of make their name in America as one of the top prospects.
Well, I got to give that credit to Rob Fulford. When we were at a previous prep school in West Virginia named Mountain State Academy, he took chances on some Canadian guys that a lot of people just wouldn't. And that opened the gates for us to establish relationships with a Mike George or Tony with CIA Bounce, with Dwayne Washington, who's now at UPlay. See, none of those programs were in existence when we first started, or when I guess Canadian basketball started to become popular. It was just, they're just trying to get guys over. And luckily, Rob took those guys, and we established relationships with those guys. And now, they tell us who, and
they're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're everywhere now.
And everything. So now we get
every prep team you see nowadays has Canadian kids.
Yeah, and even in Europe, basketball is just so huge around the world nowadays. Kids in America got to understand it's a worldly sport. While you sleep and somebody is working, and vice versa. So, I mean, you got to understand, you just got to, it's a competitive world no matter what you do. So,
it should be a good motivator because, you know, I know somebody like Moses Kingsley is originally African. I mean, those guys don't come across the whole world to not work hard. They would have stayed in their own country.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, that should be pushing the American kids that much harder.
Pushing the American kids, and they don't take the education for granted. You know what I mean? They understand that basketball is a tool. I'm gonna use it to what I need to get, and education is gonna stay with me for a lifetime. And those kids take advantage of the situation for the most part.
You use the exact term that it's come up over and over in our podcast. You know, John Stovall was on last week and said it. High school coaches, college coaches have said it, that, you know, using basketball as a tool, and that's just a great example of it. So, well, Coach, that's all the questions I have for you. You know, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. You know, Huntington Prep, you guys have become an industry leader in high school basketball, and there's so many events now. You know, we'll see you guys at Flying to the Hoop. We'll see you guys at Cancer Research Classic. I'm sure we'll see you guys somewhere else, and it's always a pleasure. And, you know, thank you again for coming on, and best of luck with the season.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
All right, guys, that was Arkell Bruce, head coach of Huntington Prep. For Jason Morrow, I'm Corey Albertson. You guys listen to the Triple Double Podcast.